Hi friends, Megan and Wendy here, and in honor of Hallmark airing The Chicken Sisters on Hallmark Channel, we are re-airing our original reviews and recaps of these episodes that were originally recorded back in September and October of 2024. So enjoy The Chicken Sisters and enjoy these recaps and reviews.
This is a Bramble Jam podcast.
Welcome to Girls Gone Hallmark, a Hallmark review podcast. I'm Megan, and I'm a longtime Hallmark fan.
I'm Wendy. I'm a former Hallmark hater.
Today we're discussing The Chicken Sisters, Episode 5, Not the Hydrangeas, y'all. We'd love for you to follow us on Instagram. Join us there. We have 2 Instagram accounts, Girls Gone Hallmark and Megan and Wendy.
Come jump into our Facebook group. There was a little bit of discussion about this particular episode in the Facebook group over the weekend. It's Girls Gone Hallmark in Facebook groups. I'll leave a link in the show notes. You have thoughts on the podcast or the Chicken Sisters or anything else, because maybe you're not on Facebook, you can always email us at girlsgonehallmark@gmail.com.
And by the way, if you're noticing some new intro music to the podcast, we had to change things up, and so we have new music.
Please tell us you like it, because
We spent our entire morning picking something.
Choosing the music is really difficult, and it has to be affordable, and you have to make sure that it can be used everywhere.
Lie to us if you have to, but also if you happen to be an independent music producer and you're dying to produce a custom intro and outro for Girls Gone Hallmark, reach out to us, girlsgonehallmark@gmail.com.
For free would even be better.
Okay. Pro bono music production.
I mean, we will put your name in every single show note if you want us to. Hey, do you want to hear a synopsis? Mm-hmm. Amanda and May have a sisterly sleepover that helps them rekindle their bond while Nancy and Gus butt heads.
I know you don't like this show. I want to put out there that I do.
So, okay, I'm glad you brought it up. Let's talk about it.
Okay.
Episode 1 I really liked. Then it went downhill, and then it kind of got better. I thought this episode was good too, but when I watch it, I get the same feelings as I did when I had to watch Ride.
That makes me really sad, because I think this is a whole different caliber of show.
I agree with you, but I just find the characters so hard to like. I need to root for somebody. And I'm kind of rooting for somebody, but we're going to get into those details. I need something different from it, though, and I can't pinpoint what it is.
Well, that's fair.
Honestly, you know what it is?
I'm going to bleep out everything Wendy just said, but y'all, the tea is piping hot over here. Look, I enjoy this show. It does not feel like a chore to me to watch it. So let's get into this episode.
Okay.
We do have a little handful of news and notes for this episode. This episode was written by Mano Agapian. Mano is both an actor and a writer, and his previous writing credits include the Netflix series Pretty Smart and the 2021 reboot of Punky Brewster on Peacock.
Shannon Coley directed this episode. In her list of 25 directing credits, she has directed 2 Hannah Swenson mysteries, One Bad Apple and A Zest for Death. Outside of Hallmark, Shannon has directed episodes for Firefly Lane, One of Us is Lying, Nancy Drew, and Supergirl.
We have some new actors to credit. Caitlin Howden plays Shauna. With 25 acting credits, Caitlin has appeared in television shows like A Million Little Things, The Last of Us, Turner and Hooch, and The Babysitter's Club, which is another project that I think may need a bingo space, and this is her first project for Hallmark.
Hey, I think Caitlin deserves to be in more Hallmark.
Oh, yeah, she would be fantastic.
Like the friend of?
The sassy best friend. Mm-hmm. Listen to our Hannah Swenson episode for sassy context.
Hazel Bartlett CS plays Little May in a flashback at the top of the episode. Hazel has 12 acting credits with recent appearances in the horror movie Long Legs, The Good Doctor, The Hammer, and Zoe's Extraordinary Christmas.
Freya Edwards plays Little Amanda. There is absolutely no information on IMDb about this young actor.
None. Zero. And I don't know if she really even had any lines in this episode other than like nodding her head or being the cute little sister.
Yeah.
Maybe it's her first project.
Perhaps.
I don't know. Dan Payne, heyo, plays Gruster. Dan has 122 acting credits, having appeared in shows like Virgin River, 40 episodes of Crank Yankers, as well as one episode of Once Upon a Time. He co-starred opposite Terry Hatcher in a 2023 Christmas movie called How to Fall in Love by Christmas. For Hallmark, Dan has been in Fourth Down and Love and Christmas, She Wrote.
Let's take a quick break and we'll come right back with more Chicken Sisters. To me, in my mind, this episode was like the one where Amanda almost has a redemption arc. So let's talk about it.
Okay.
Amanda bounces all around town trying to find a place to land. We had suspected at the end of last episode that she went to May's. She, in fact, goes to Shauna's. I love that choice. But she gets bounced out of Shauna's. Gus turns her away. And there's something about this scene. They act like at the end of the episode, they act like it was a big reveal that the reason Amanda couldn't stay there was too much stuff. That was obvious to me immediately.
Duh. Yeah. Have you been watching?
Did you notice the way Gus is like massaging her hand?
Yes.
In that final scene?
I noticed it in this episode. She also did it in maybe last week's episode too.
I think there's clues there, y'all. And then she settles for staying with May. Like, fine, I'll sleep here if there's no room at the freaking inn for me. I thought they had some nice sisterly moments, and May, once again, is the bigger person here. Like, she is sharing her truth. Because Amanda's like, you're so perfect. You think you're so perfect. And May's like, I'm not. I'm lying to my fiance. I'm a complete fraud. And I think there's jealousy. Like, I think Amanda is jealous of May. As much as she gives her a hard time for this persona she has as, like, the host of Sparkling. And that is her personality and everything in its place. I think May got out.
Yeah.
They had this like big fancy life in New York. And although Amanda got away from Mimi's, she's still in this town. And I think there's a lot of sour grapes.
There's absolutely tons of resentment from Amanda to May. And the narrator sprinkles it in there too about like, Amanda was the one who stayed or whatever. Yes, of course there's resentment. And she sees May as like, May's perfect. May's living the perfect life, where Amanda knows that she's got a shit hand with her husband. Not that the other parts of her life are shitty, because I don't think they are truly. Maybe her relationship with her mom, but she has a wonderful relationship with Nancy. She's got a great kid. She just has a shitty husband.
And the final scene in the episode where she's in the kitchen, I'm like, she's got a nice house.
Yeah.
Like she seems like she lives a very comfortable life in that regard.
Right.
I thought it was interesting. We get a little bit more insight. There's a comment about Amanda choosing Frank Jr. as a way out of Gus's house, as opposed to like, I was so in love with him. And we also see the commentary like May poisoned Amanda's happiness with her realistic take on marriage.
Look, I feel like you need somebody to say something to you if you're going to marry someone who is not great. I think May was doing what May does. She's the big older sister who has always protected little sister Amanda.
Yeah.
She protected her from the bully who was calling them trash when they were kids. We learned last week she was protecting her by paying for the electricity bill and whatever, right? Like, she didn't want her to experience that kind of stuff, to see the reality of the life that they lived.
Yeah.
So I think May truly had some perspective on Amanda's wedding day and was like, you have so much more than this. That's basically what it boils down to. May knows Amanda has so much more to offer.
Yeah.
Out of life, or can get so much more out of life. Like, she has passions and she should be pursuing that. Like, she shouldn't be making fried chicken and cleaning oil crates or whatever.
Artist. Like, you have a talent. You
Yes.
explore that. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And like our teenagers, they don't want to hear it, right? They don't want to hear it from somebody else.
Well, she didn't want to be told that she was wrong. She didn't want to be told, like, here Amanda thinks, like, this is the way out. Like, I'm going to get out of my mama's house. I'm not going to be a Mimi's girl anymore. And so, in spite of the fact that, like, the guy is Frank Jr., I do think Amanda, in that time, like, loved Frank Jr. He was, as much as she knew what that meant. Mm-hmm. But I think to her, she's like, I'm doing it. Like, I did it. And then May comes in and she's like, it's not enough.
Yeah.
And you're right. Like a teenager, they're like, don't tell me I'm wrong.
Right. So I just think Amanda is just going to forever be pissed at May.
You know, they have that, like, sweet sister moment.
They have a lot of great moments.
May breaks down crying. Amanda, like, lays in bed with her. We saw that they have that sisterly connection. They had that, like, squealing over you kissing Sergio. I took issue with that scene. And I know last week
you did take issue with that scene?
You're like, I'm not clutching my pearls. And my notes are like, I guess I am clutching my pearls a little bit, because is this something to be celebrated? Like,
May doesn't care. She wants her away from Frank Jr.
May doesn't care. And I guess in May's point of view, she's like, thank God you saw that there is something else out there.
Exactly.
And you found joy in that. But I'm just struggling with the portrayal of this a little bit. But we're going to talk about Frank Jr. But at the end of the episode, obviously, he comes back and Amanda returns. And I loved May's line. She's like, yeah, marriage is supposed to be hard sometimes, but it's not supposed to be hard all the time. Mm-hmm. And Amanda says, just because you ruined your relationship doesn't mean I have to ruin mine.
Amanda's a bitch.
You suck, man.
As much as May was there for her over the whatever 2 days it was, that was uncalled for, I thought. This is why I don't like Amanda.
Yeah, she's not likable here.
I am not rooting for Amanda. Go back. Go enjoy Frank Jr. because he is garbage.
So let's talk about Frankie and Frank Jr.
Okay.
Frankie orchestrates them getting back together. And it is so sad when she's trying to draw it out of Frank Jr. And everything he says is basically that Amanda's good at being his mom.
Yeah, I'm going to stop you there. Did you see Shauna react in the background of this? You didn't know? So Shauna's like, because they're in the restaurant and Shauna's like overhearing this conversation between Frankie and her dad. And like, she kind of like steps in like she's going to say something and Frankie like holds her off like, it's all right, I got it. But yeah, it was real sad.
She's
Sad.
real good at doing the laundry. She makes dinner I was like, you are a child.
I would be so heartbroken if those are the things my husband thought about me.
You know, Frankie here, she just wants her parents to get back together. And I can understand that. She's like, I want the status quo. I want life as I know it. I don't want whatever this disruption is. And Lindsay kind of tries to convince her that divorced parents are where it's at. And then we see the reality of that on the other side. And then Frankie comes full circle because Amanda comes back home. Frank Jr. goes back into his beer drinking on the recliner. Honey, can you do my laundry?
Do you know how pissed I was?
And she's like, well, I'll get to it. And Frankie's face was like, oh shit.
The realization.
This is not what I want for my mom.
Yeah, that was sad. That was super sad. And I'm hoping that Frankie here will break the cycle. Like, I hope she goes and pursues her dreams in New York and doesn't just fall into like, I'm going to be a Franny's girl then, and I'm going to fall into the same cycle, because obviously that's what's happening. Like, from Nancy to now this, it just, yikes. Yikes all around. It was sad. That was a sad ending.
It was a sad ending.
And I feel like Amanda was just like, I wish she would have had some sort of like realization about it.
I wanted more of a reaction from her. And I think they did a nice job of showing like the teenage mind is so short-sighted. She's like, I got to get my parents back together. So I got to coach my dad through what he's got to say to get my mom back. But she didn't think beyond that moment. Like, mom comes home. We haven't solved any of the problems that existed before. Dad falls straight back into his old habits. Like, there was nothing beyond, you need to tell mom why you appreciate her. And I'm going to tell you what to say.
Yeah. Well, because Andy unspoken, the entire Frank Jr. lied to Amanda about having the vasectomy. Like,
Yeah, none of that is addressed.
That is such like a huge distrust. Is that the word I'm looking for? Like a huge lie, something you would keep secret for so long from your partner is not cool. And she's just like okay with it now.
All right, Nancy and Gus clash.
I thought there were good things about this and bad things about it. The good things I thought about it were, I loved when Gus told Nancy that Frank Sr. was
good for nothing.
Yeah.
Did it make you question if they actually had an affair?
You know, I hadn't given it much thought, but because maybe Gus has always had that opinion of Frank Sr. And maybe Nancy was just under the assumption that something happened between those two.
Or he did something else. Gus wouldn't touch him with the 10-foot pole.
Yeah, and maybe...
I wonder if more is going to come out there. Or if her opinion about him comes from that experience. I do not know. I did gasp when the truck with the Fran Stan sticker drove through her hydrangeas.
It felt very reminiscent of our political climate right now.
Right.
And that's all I'm going to say about it.
Yes, I agree. And it was especially heartbreaking because that's the only pretty part of Gus's house. Like, those flowers are beautiful, and we see her out there tending to them. The inside of her house is a mess. And even the outside, there's like things still piled up.
Yeah.
But she has those beautiful hydrangeas, and they destroyed them.
The thing I hated about their whole interaction was that stupid, like, physical fight that they got into. It was like a poking match, and then like with the... Just, I didn't think it was like... executed that well. I thought it was silly, actually.
I agree. Like, these women are not going to be physically fighting with each other. Nancy was making an extended metaphor about how, like, you have these beautiful flowers and you won't tend to them. Obviously talking about Gus's daughters, particularly Amanda. And I don't know how I feel. Like, you know, Nancy goes home and plants the flowers. She's like, well, if Gus won't appreciate it, I will. But Nancy needs a good smack too.
Tell me more.
Like, she is good to Amanda, but she needs to go beyond that and expect more from her son. She does confront him, and she's like, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah, you need to atone for your behavior, sure.
I think she really needs to hold his feet to the fire and be like, this is not how you treat people. This is not how you treat me. This is not how you treat your wife. We're not going, as a team, we are not going to allow you to get away with it.
Yeah, I don't think she's ever going to do that because she has lost Frank Sr., obviously. And I think maybe she feels like if she pushes Frank Jr.,
I don't think you're wrong,
that he'll bounce. I don't know. The Nancy character, I had so much kind of hope for her at the beginning. I just feel like she's a real disappointment.
The only romantic relationship I'm rooting for in this show is Sabrina and Gruster.
Yeah.
We just get glimpses of Gruster in this episode. I like him.
I like him too. And I love Sabrina.
Me too.
Sabrina and her daughter, Lindsay, in that moment in the bedroom, because Lindsay's so upset that her dad just forgot about their call, and she was so upset. And I thought she was so good in this scene. I thought that was one of the best scenes of the whole episode.
Me too.
And shout out, I know we don't do like, did you see that? But I love that Lindsay was wearing like a silk bonnet.
Me too.
Yeah, I thought that was like super realistic, and I like that they showed that.
Yeah, I think that representation is nice too. Do you have any other key plot points you want to discuss?
Just one, the community gossip.
Oh,
So, you know, of course, at the very beginning of the episode, they showed like from last week's episode where the girl was talking gossip about Gus, and they called him Gin.
Yeah, they did that last week too.
Is that how you say it? I mean,
that's how they're saying it.
it's so weird to me. But it's like they're dropping these like breadcrumbs, and it's like, let's get to it already. We're now going to be in episode 6 next week.
Yeah.
There's only 8 episodes.
Yeah, even Nancy like spies him through the bedroom window. But come on, y'all. We all know she's not having an affair.
Yeah, like,
And at least let the viewer in on it. Like, it's okay if you don't want the town to know, but I think it's time to stop pretending like the viewer isn't smart enough to understand what's going on here.
right. Yeah, and especially with the like hand rubbing that we see Gus doing. Like, obviously there's bigger issues here. I love it when they let the viewer in on it.
It could be done without coming out and telling us. Let's talk clockworthy moments.
Sure.
So, never before seen on Hallmark, as far as I know, Hangover.
Yeah.
Love that. I love the line, it's vintage diva, Patrick to Sabrina. Also, Nancy is talking to Frank Jr., and he's like, she left. And she's like, can you blame her, Frank Jr.? And his line is, that's the plan.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Funny, shitty, but funny. And the final funny moment is making Shauna an elite level Airbnb host in addition to her many side hustles made me laugh.
Yes, I agree with all of those. For me, I really enjoyed the like sister dynamic between Amanda and May. It was nice to see them getting together rather than fighting. Of course, it all went south at the end for that. But especially when like May is like crying in bed and Amanda sees her and just climbs into bed, I just thought that was a really, really good scene. My other one is at the end, and we already talked about it, like Frankie's realization about her family dynamic. I said this a couple episodes ago. I feel like, again, we're just scratching the surface. It's so, look, I would watch it if this show goes to a season 2. I just hope they dig in deeper to these things. These, to me, feel like very relatable subject matter that people would understand, viewers would understand. This is obviously not like one of those like dreamy Hallmark shows or movies that you want to like run away.
Yeah, so what I was thinking about this show is I think one of the reasons I enjoy it is that it's touching on big, important issues in a really accessible, uncomfortable way. I think it's important to tell these stories.
I do too.
In a way that I don't feel worse for having watched. Like, we're talking about alcoholism. We're talking about infidelity. We're talking about unhappy marriages. We're talking about deceit among spouses. We're talking about difficult parental relationships. We're talking about parenting teenagers and co-parenting relations. There's so many things going on.
Is there too many things going on?
I don't actually think so.
Okay.
I don't.
Okay.
Who is your feathered friend of the week?
Hands down, it's May.
Yeah, May's like holding the town of Merinac on her back.
Seriously.
She's like, interesting, there's like no kitchen clash content in this episode.
One.
Except for, Sabrina catches Nancy and Gus's spray fight.
Yes.
Which I thought was great.
Yes.
Reminded us like why we're all here. But yeah, it's May.
To me, she's had the most growth since returning. And I had wondered, I know you read the book, was May the central character in the story in the book? No.
She and Amanda kind of share the burden in the book.
Uh-huh.
I did like the full circle moment with Patrick.
Yes.
Like even
When he
Patrick's
brought-
like, I see
Yeah.
the heartbreak pie. I see what you're doing here.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Thank you for listening to this episode. Recapping and reviewing the Chicken Sisters. We have 3 more episodes to go. Y'all, we'll be back for the next 3 weeks with those. I just want to address this. There has been some discussion in our Facebook group about when stuff is coming, like from Hallmark Plus to linear or from linear to Hallmark Plus. And I don't know if we've ever discussed it here, but the idea is never for those to be one-to-one copies of each other.
Yeah, I don't think so.
They're intended to stand alone. They want to have fully separate audiences. And from like a business standpoint, like Hallmark is not going to be able to sell advertising on a movie like The Real West if advertisers know it's just going to be dumped to the streaming platform 2 weeks later.
Yeah, I think there's some confusion that people think that once it's on linear, then it's going to end up on Hallmark Plus the next day. That's not the case.
No.
It's on Peacock.
It's on Peacock.
Friendly.
Uh-huh.
There's other avenues
There are other ways, but yes, they are not one-to-one copies of each other.
Not gonna happen.
Just some clarification as far as we understand it. Once again, thank you for listening to this episode. We'll be back with more Chicken Sisters, and tomorrow we'll be back with our thoughts on Autumn at Apple Hill. We'll see you then. Bye, guys.
Bye.
All right, friends, before we go, just a quick heads up. You're about to hear some ads. These little gems help us keep the show running and the Hallmark love flowing. So do with that info what you will. Grab a snack, hit the skip button, or maybe, just maybe, listen in and discover your new favorite product. Bye.